After leaving Puyuhuapi, I continued north with a new destination in mind, Puerto Raúl Marín Balmaceda, a tiny village on the Pacific coast. Getting there would take an entire day of hitchhiking, walking and waiting. But once I arrived, I found dolphins directly from the beach, and one of the best wildlife experiences of my journey so far. Good morning. We're going to La Junta and maybe to the final destination today, Balmaceda. I will put up the name somewhere. And we're hitchhiking again. So it's back on the Carretera Austral and off to the next place. On April 13th, it was time to start hitchhiking again. My goal was Puerto Raúl Marín Balmaceda, a small village on the Pacific coast. The first ride came pretty quickly, but only brought me to the junction outside of town. First ride came really fast, but is only going to bring me to the better spot. So here's the Carretera Austral again, and now we're going to La Junta. It's 43 kilometers away from me. So we're gonna get there, but the other stop I really want to get today or tomorrow. So the final destination is Puerto Raúl Marín, which is located at the ocean. And from there, the waiting began. Almost 2 hours later, a family finally stopped for me. I ended up sitting in the back together with their dogs, and they brought me all the way to La Junta. From there, I walked out of town toward the next junction. Alright, I made it to La Junta. A funny ride in the back of a car. The crossing is not too far, so we're walking there, and hopefully we can find some people going to Puerto Raúl Marín. And here's the first sign, Puerto Raúl Marín. This road would finally take me west toward Raúl Marín, but first, more waiting. Around 2 hours later, a couple finally picked me up. They were heading to some thermal springs around 50 kilometers before Raúl Marín. So that was as far as they could take me. The next car went to a terma here, and we're now 50 kilometers-ish away from our destination. But we have to see if any cars will pass here. From there I started walking again. There was almost no traffic, and for a while I genuinely thought this might be where I would spend the night. Since there are no cars, we're walking now, and if we don't find a ride, we're just gonna camp somewhere at the side of the road and then continue tomorrow. We're gonna wait here and hopefully somebody picks us up.
But then, completely unexpectedly, a bus appeared. For around $4, they took me the rest of the way. The journey even included a short ferry crossing over the river before we continued toward the Pacific.
Times I've cried, I filled a jar or two. Now I drink that jar. Never I feel blue. Ooh, baby. How many days have flown by? Ooh, baby.
And by the evening, after an entire day of hitchhiking, waiting and walking, I finally made it to Puerto Raúl Marín Balmaceda.
We finally arrived. Since it was getting late and the ship was going to close, took this minibus, van, whatever you want to call it, and it cost me 4,000, which is quite okay. And now we have to find a camping space. So I checked both of the campings that are here in this village, and they're both closed probably because of winter. So we're gonna go to a hostel and look how much it costs there.
Unfortunately, my campsite was closed, and without internet outside, I couldn't contact them. Checked into a hostel instead.
Good afternoon. We're going on a hike around the island. So let's go. So we are at the start of the trail. It's just next to the airfield. And here we are. Sendero Los Arayanes. 2 kilometers, but we're doing a longer trek because we're going at the beach.
The next morning, I managed to contact the campsite. They opened up for me, I moved over and set up my tent. Afterwards, I went out to explore the island. A small trail led me through an incredible dense green forest.
Oh, it's amazing. It really is like a jungle, but it's cold. So like I think I will correct myself in post-editing. This is the Nebelwald in German it is. Fog forest, cloud forest I think in English. I will put it up somewhere. And it's like a jungle but in cold.
Everything here felt wet, lush and full of life.
Wow. And we're at the ocean. We made it to the ocean. So there's a little island, but out there is the wild open ocean. How amazing. And hopefully we will be able to take the tour which goes to the penguins and the other sea animals, but there have to be enough people. So we will see if it's possible.
Eventually, the forest opened up and I reached the Pacific.
Wow. So we just came out of the forest and now we're here. Wow.
In the distance, I could already see some of the islands inside the marine protected area.
Spent 2 years of my life in a foreign land. Came home to my young wife, that feeling low.
I continued walking along the beach.
On the ground. Just one click of my thumb, lay the bodies down. Oh, it seems nightmares hard to come out true. Life ain't just what it seems. I ain't just schemes. And oh, it's true. On the faces of those who know. Love try to get your hands on those. Spent 2 years of my life in a foreign land. Came home to find my mind.
Apparently we have low tide because this is normally ocean. So we have to be quick because I don't know when the tide ends and I don't want to be trapped in the ocean. But it's amazing, we're so far away from everything. It's an amazing place. And interesting that we don't hear much from all those travelers and tourists about this place. Because this is amazing here. Look what I found. Volcanic rock. Explains why everything is black here. And this looks like what we call in German watt. I don't like that. Because this can go all the way to your knee.
Suddenly, I spotted something moving offshore. Dolphins. Could actually watch them swimming from the beach, and I hadn't even gone on the wildlife tour yet.
It's poking out. You can see the fins. These lava rocks I'm finding here, probably from Corcovado, the volcano that's quite close to here. Interesting. We arrived at the local harbor, I think. Judging by the ship that's going here, probably.
After exploring a little more on the coastline, I eventually headed back to camp, cooked some food and called it a day. Tomorrow I would finally head out onto the water.
Back at camp, we made a nice, perfect loop. Nice big loop around the island. Look at how beautiful those colors are. Good morning, we have 8:30 and we're going to a penguin tour. And if you're following these videos along all the way from the beginning, you know why I'm this happy. Because the penguins, the Magellan penguins, are on my list since day one. And now finally we found a spot where I don't have to pay $100 to $200. So let's go.
The next morning, it was finally time for the main reason I had come here. A boat trip through the marine protected area surrounding Raul Marín. As we left the village behind, we had an incredible view of Melimoyo volcano rising above the landscape. It wasn't long before we reached the first island, home to a colony of South American sea lions. From there, we continued between the different islands, spotting seabirds along the way. And then we found one of my favorite animals of the day, an otter, sitting between the rocks and eating a sea urchin. What a cute little animal. little later, we even spotted another one. Further on, we saw a penguin nesting high up on the islands. It was pretty far away, but still amazing to see. We stopped for some coffee and cookies before continuing toward the next colony. And this one had even more sea lions. They were everywhere, across the rocks. Eventually, it was time to start heading back toward Raúl Marín, but the day wasn't finished yet. A dolphin appeared in the distance. Everyone started watching the water, trying to guess where it would surface again. And somehow, while looking for the dolphin, I spotted another penguin. Then, just as we were about to leave, the dolphins came back. This time, they came straight toward the boat. They started surfing in the wave beside us, disappearing under the water, and appearing again only seconds later. Some of them were jumping right next to us. For a while, they seemed to be everywhere. What an incredible moment. Eventually though, it was really time to head back. I spent the rest of the day editing back at camp after what had been one of my favorite wildlife days of the whole journey. April 16th was much quieter, mostly laundry, editing and trying to dry everything over the fire. I also had to figure out how I was going to leave tomorrow. There was almost nobody around here to hitchhike with, and I didn't really have time to lose another full day waiting beside the road. Luckily, I found out there was a bus leaving at 7 the next morning, so this time I decided to take it. Early the next morning, everything was packed again. After a few days beside the Pacific, exploring the island and seeing dolphins, penguins and sea lions, it was time to continue. My next goal was Futalefu, which meant leaving the Pacific behind and heading back toward the mountains. And that's where the next part of the journey would begin. So see you in the next one.